Today we'll see about the anterior triangles of neck. Today we'll see about the anterior triangles of the neck. Before going to that, we have to see the landmarks. We have to see the landmarks which will help us which will help us to study with complete knowledge. First of all, we will see under this anterior triangle, we will study the base of the mandible. We will study the base of the mandible. In the base of the mandible, we are getting in the base of the mandible. Anteriorly, we are getting the chin here, and posteriorly, we are getting the angles. It is the base of the mandible. Then, just behind and backwards, there is a body of the, there is a hyoid bone. Just behind and backwards, there is a hyoid bone which is a U-shaped. That is the hyoid bone. Just behind and backward, there is a hyoid bone which is U-shaped hyoid bone. It is present between the junction between the oral cavity and the neck. At the junction between oral cavity and the neck. Junction between oral cavity or buccal cavity and neck. Then you will get this hyoid bone goes posteriorly U-shaped goes backwards, and this greater cornu, it has got the lesser cornu and greater cornu. This greater cornu is overlapped by the anterior border of the sternomastoid. Anterior border of the sternomastoid. Anterior border of the sternomastoid. Here you are seeing the sternomastoid. Anterior border of the sternomastoid, which is overlapped. Greater cornu of the hyoid bone. Then there comes the thyroid cartilage. There is a thyroid cartilage. Then comes, there is a thyroid cartilage. The prominence, it is very much prominence. This prominence of the thyroid cartilage is called Adam's apple. Adam's apple. Because it is more prominent in the male, in the adults rather. It is more prominent in the male because the degree of this Adam's, this anterior, this anterior border, this thyroid cartilage, the degree is 90 degree in male, 90 degree in the males, and 120 in females. Hence, the protuberance is more significant. The protuberance, the significant in the male due to the less angle, up to this less angle, and 120 in the female. Hence, it is very much prominent in the male Now we'll come to the, here we come to the cricoid cartilage. Below that we will come to the cricoid cartilage. There is a cartilage, cricoid cartilage. Cricoid cartilage, a ring like. Then from the cricoid cartilage, trachea starts. From the cricoid cartilage, you will start the trachea. There is a starting of trachea will start here, and trachea can be easily felt in the suprasternal notch. Trachea can be easily felt. Trachea can be easily felt from the cricoid cartilage. The trachea starts. Trachea can be easily felt in the suprasternal notch. Suprasternal notch. It is the suprasternal notch. Here the trachea can be easily felt. It is normally present in the midline. If the trachea deviates right or left, it shows the displacement of the mediastinum. Once again I repeat, usually trachea present in the midline. If the trachea deviates right or left, it shows the displacement of the mediastinum. Well, now before going to the diagrammatic view, I will once again repeat it. What are the landmarks here? What are the landmarks? What are the landmarks? Before going to the diagrammatic expression, I will once again repeat. Once again I repeat the diagram. What are the points? What are the significant landmarks? Once again I repeat here. Number one is the mandible. Mandible is here. Anteriorly called chin, posteriorly called the angles. Then she will come to know the hyoid bone. Hyoid bone is U-shaped, which has a greater cornu and lesser cornu. U-shaped, it is overlapped by the sternomastoid. Then there is a thyroid cartilage. Then there is a thyroid cartilage. Thyroid cartilage of the larynx. Then cricoid cartilage. Then comes the trachea. This trachea is identify the cartilages. Trachea is easily felt in the suprasternal notch. In the suprasternal notch, these are the landmarks. These are the landmarks we are going to see. And one more thing we have seen. Before going to that, two things we are going to see. It is anteriorly. Then we will see the mastoid process. Mastoid process. Mastoid process. It is lies just behind the puncta of the ear. Puncta of the ear, mastoid process. Puncta of the ear, mastoid process. Between the mastoid process, it is the mastoid process, anterior triangle, and the ramus of the mandible. And the ramus of the mandible, sorry, angle of the mandible. In the angle of the mandible, you can feel between the antero-inferior part of the mastoid process and the angle of mandible. Mastoid process and angle of mandible, you can feel here transverse process of the atlas bone. You can feel here transverse process of atlas vertebra. atlas vertebra. Anterior inferior surface of the mastoid, and between the angle of the mandible, you can feel here, deeply feel the transverse process of the atlas vertebra. Atlas vertebra is the first cervical vertebra. Atlas vertebra is the first cervical vertebra. Now we'll see the diagrammatic expressions. The diagrammatic expression can be seen here. See here what I told you, base of the mandible. Base of the mandible, there is a platysma. There is a platysma here. Platysma will start from the fascia of the deltoid and the pectoralis. Deltoid and the pectoralis, platysma, which is the subcutaneous muscle. Which is the subcutaneous muscle present in the base of the mandible. Base of the mandible, you can see here. Platysma, which is the muscle of facial expression. Subcutaneous muscle, which is muscle of the facial expression, which is used for to note the horror, fear and terror. That is the platysma, subcutaneous muscle. Now it is, you can see here the jugular venous arch. Then you can see here suprasternal notch. Suprasternal notch can be seen here. Then this, you can see the platysma and the sternomastoid. Sternomastoid from the mustard process of the mustard process to the sternum and clavicle. It is also called sternocleidomastoid and sternomastoid also. Sternomastoid muscle is here, and the platysma you can see here. Here you see the jugular venous arch. This jugular venous arch, it will pierce the deep cervical, it pierces the deep cervical fascia and comes to its fellow to the jugular venous. This jugular venous arch, it is anterior jugular vein will join here. Here it will come and join the supra space of burn. Here it will come and join the suprasternal space of burn. Space of burn it will join here, and there is a investing layer. We have seen the deep cervical fascia, we have seen last time. It is the platysma is here. These are the base of the mandible can be seen here. Now we will go to the muscles. What are the muscles present in the suprahyoid region? Suprahyoid region we have studied, we have taken the, see here, 2 to 3 centimeter from the base of the mandible to the sternum. 2 to 3 centimeter from the base of the mandible to the 2 to centimeter from the sternum. See here, these are the suprahyoid region. In the suprahyoid region, the structures are here, the mylohyoid. The mylohyoid muscle, it is a mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid muscle is here. This muscle, mylohyoid muscle is here. It will originate from the mylohyoid groove of the internal surface of the mandible. Internal mylohyoid groove surface of the mandible and insert on the hyoid bone. Mylohyoid bone along with the mylohyoid nerve is here. Mylohyoid nerve is here. And there is also, you can see here, you can see the artery, submental artery, branch of the facial artery. You can nicely see the facial artery. The facial artery is a branch of the external carotid artery. The submental artery you can see here, and the masseter muscle also can be seen here. Masseter muscle originate from the inferior border of the zygomatic arch. Masseter muscle originate from the inferior border of the zygomatic arch and insert on the outer border of the ramus of the mandible and coronal process of the mandible. Masseter muscle, which is the muscle of mastication. Now we will see the anterior belly of digastric and posterior belly of digastric. This anterior belly of digastric starts from the digastric fossa of the mandible. It runs backwards. Then posterior belly from the mastoid, the groove groove of the mastoid and mastoid, near the mastoid and the temporal bone there is a groove. That groove they start the posterior belly. Both will embrace. Both will embrace here with the help of the sternohyoid muscle. Both will embrace here. Anterior belly, posterior belly, both will embrace here with the help of the sternohyoid muscle. Then there is a fibrous pulley will encroach the common tendon. It forms a common tendon here. Both belly of digastric will form a common tendon here. Common tendon. This interest to note that anterior belly of digastric from the mandibular nerve, posterior belly of digastric from the facial nerve. Because developmentally anterior belly of digastric from the first arch. Second is the posterior belly of second arch. Posterior belly of digastric is from the second arch. Anterior belly of digastric from the first arch. Hence, developmentally they are from the different. Hence, they have got different nerve supply. Then hyoglossus. Hyoglossus is a muscle of tongue. Muscle of tongue can be seen here, which is the extrinsic muscle of the tongue can be seen here. Now we can see the submental artery can be seen. Facial artery is a branch of external carotid artery, which is a tortuous artery. Because it is tortured. Tortuous artery, branch of external carotid artery, submental artery from the external carotid artery. These you can see the coronal section. In the coronal section, you can nicely see here. You can nicely see here the D fascia, hypoglossal nerve. Hypoglossal nerve is a 12th cranial nerve. Submandibular duct can be seen here. Submandibular gland can be seen here. This part. This is the schematic sketch of the outline of the submandibular gland. Submandibular gland, the sketch is here. You can see the sketch of the submandibular outline of the submandibular gland. It is the sketch you can easily see here. You can also see here the submandibular gland on either side, and you can also see anterior belly of digastric. You can see the intrinsic muscle of the tongue also, superior longitudinal muscle, inferior longitudinal muscle. They are intrinsic muscles. They are the intrinsic muscle. You can also see here sublingual gland on either side. Sublingual gland can be seen. Hypoglossal nerve, 12th cranial nerve can be seen here. Styloglossus. Styla to the glossus is a muscle of the tongue. Styloglossus muscle can be seen here. Here you can also see genohyoid. See, genial tubercle of the mandible. Genial tubercle of the mandible to the hyoid bone. Genohyoid. Genohyoid can be seen here. This structure can be easily seen in the coronal section. Coronal section can be seen here. These structures are suprahyoid region. Above the hyoid bone, these structures can be easily seen. It is the sagittal section, superior view. It is the coronal section can be seen here. Now, before going to that, we will see here. You can see there is one bursa is here. Subhyoid bursa. Bursa between the thyrohyoid membrane and the hyoid. Just behind the hyoid bone and thyrohyoid membrane, there is a bursa. What is bursa? Bursa is a synovial sac. It is a synovial sac which contains synovial fluid. Bursa is a sac, it means small bag, which contains the synovial fluid, which will lubricates during the swallowing, during the moment of the artenoid, during the swallowing. It will help hyoid bone. Well, now we'll go to the infrahyoid muscles here. You can see the infrahyoid muscles. Muscles present below the hyoid bone. Infrahyoid muscles. They are the thyrohyoid. You can see omohyoid. Omo means shoulder. Omo means shoulder to the hyoid bone. They are present on the superior border, just adjacent to the suprascapular notch. Near the adjacent to the suprascapular notch, the muscle is called omohyoid muscle. Omo means shoulder to the hyoid bone. Superior belly can be seen here. Thyrohyoid can be seen here. These are the muscles are supplied. These infrahyoid muscles. These sternothyroid, thyrohyoid, omohyoid, sternothyroid. These all are supplied by the normal nerve supply, ansa cervicalis. Ansa cervicalis, as I told you already, it is formed by the C1, C2, C3 plus hypoglossal nerve. These are a loop is formed called ansa, means a loop. Ansa cervicalis supplies these all infrahyoid muscles. All the infrahyoid muscles supplied by the ansa cervicalis muscle. Ansa cervicalis, it is the plexus of the nerve formed by C1, C2, C3 plus hypoglossal nerve. A loop is formed in infrahyoid muscles. These muscle actions are deglution and elevation of the larynx, deglution and elevation of the hyoid bone, deglution and elevation of the hyoid bone during the moment of the deglution, and during the moment of the arytenoid cartilage. Deglution and elevation of deglution during the swallowing and arytenoid cartilage, and movement of the arytenoid cartilage. It is the function of the infrahyoid muscles. Once again I repeat: omohyoid, sternohyoid, thyrohyoid, sternohyoid, thyrohyoid, infrahyoid. These are all muscles of the infrahyoid, common nerve supply and usually common action. That is the deglution and elevation during swallowing and during the movement of the arytenoid cartilage. Well, now we'll see lastly we'll see about the applied anatomy. Applied anatomy. The enlargement of the neck. Goiter. Goiter is a deficiency of the iodine. Thyroid hormone goiter. Next, there may be the external carcinoma, means cancer, malignancy. Carcinoma of larynx. Carcinoma of the larynx, enlargement of lymph node, enlargement of lymph node. Goiter, external carcinoma of the larynx, enlargement of the lymph nodes. These are the factors. They are then thyroglossal duct, persistent of the thyroglossal duct may be persistent. There may be thyroglossal duct. Thyroglossal duct may persist. Then these are the things. Goiter. You know the goiter, there is due to the thyroid deficiency, there is iodine deficiency due to thyroid problem. External carcinoma. Carcinoma means malignancy, cancer of the larynx. Enlargement of lymph node may be due to the thyroid. There may be some infections. It may cause enlargement of the lymph node. Even in the suprasternal notch, there is space of burn also, there is enlargement in the cold abscess. Thyroglossal duct. Then there is a tracheostomy. Under certain condition, the trachea is cut. Under certain condition, trachea is cut. That is called tracheostomy. Tracheostomy. When there is no proper, there is obstruction, there is a bypass to bypass the upper respiratory tract. The tracheostomy is done. When there is any to remove the secretions in the respiratory tract, tracheostomy is done. When there is to supply the proper air supply to the lungs, tracheostomy is done. Tracheostomy is also done. But it is done, tracheostomy is done, usually the tracheostomy is done retrothyroid, suprahyoid. It is done retrothyroid. It is done retrothyroid. Retrothyroid and suprahyoid. Above the hyoid, suprahyoid, because Infrahyoid, there are the blood supply is problem, there are plenty blood supply. It is done retrothyroid. Retro means behind the thyroid. Suprahyoid it is done. Tracheostomy is done. Tracheostomy is done retrothyroid and suprahyoid. And one more thing is there, cut throat injuries, cut throat wound. When there is a cut throat wound is there, it may be just above or below the hyoid bone. They are called cut throat wounds. They are called cut throat wounds. Cut throat wounds. Cut throat wounds just above the hyoid bone, just slightly above the hyoid bone. Here what happens during the voluntary extension of the neck, during the voluntary extension of the neck, the blood vessel will go backwards. Blood vessel will escape backwards during the voluntary extension of the neck. The cut throat wounds, which has to be borne in mind. And these are the introduction. It is an introduction class to the anterior triangle. Because now we have to go the anterior triangle, digastric triangle. Next class we will go for the anterior triangle, then there is a digastric triangle, muscular triangle. We will see remaining. It is the introduction. Landmarks. Landmark has to be known. See the landmarks. What are the landmarks we have seen? We have seen the base of the mandible. Base of the mandible, which contains the muscles of the lower lip, platysma. Then we have seen there is a hyoid bone, which has got a smaller corner, U-shaped hyoid bone we have seen. Then we have seen there is the thyroid cartilage we have seen. We have seen the cricoid cartilage. We have seen the trachea. Then we have seen the sternocleidomastoid. We have also seen the mustard process. These are the structures which we are coming across, which we will be knowing in detail, which we will be studying during the anterior triangle. Then we have classified the muscles. We have classified the anterior triangle into two divisions: suprahyoid, infrahyoid. And infrahyoid muscles, we have also seen that also. And next time we will see it is an introduction class I have taken. Next time we will see the triangles in detail. And any doubts are there, please phone me, WhatsApp me. And any doubts are there, you are most welcome. Please stay in the home, stay safe. Please take care. Bye.